Henderson walked into the biggest room he had ever seen. The walls were made of crystal that glowed with blue light. Thousands of aliens sat in circles above him, watching. Each species looked different. Some had tentacles, some had metal skin, some had wings. But they all looked down at him with the same thing in their eyes. They did not care about humans. Ambassador Laura Mitchell stood next to him. Her face was hard. She had lost friends in wars with other aliens. She had watched people from Earth die because the Empire would not help them. Now they were here to ask the greatest power in the galaxy for respect. The Supreme Regent stood up. He was made of metal that moved like water. His voice came through machines that translated his words into human language. When he spoke, he smiled. His smile was not kind. "These are the humans," the Regent said. "The creatures from the far world, the ones who think they are important." Around him, other aliens laughed. The traders from the world made sharp clicking sounds. The tall Vex beings waved their arms in mockery. Even the quiet Quinn species, who never showed emotion, made sounds of laughter. The Regent continued. "Your world gives us nothing. Your weapons are weak. Your ships are slow. Why should we listen to you?" He turned to look at the other aliens. "I say we tell them to go home and stop wasting our time." More laughter filled the room. It was loud and cruel. Watched Laura's hands make fists. She was angry, but she did not show it on her face. That was good. That was smart. Laura spoke, and her voice was quiet but clear. "We came to offer you something. We came to offer you peace and friendship." The Regent turned away before she finished speaking. "Peace with humans? We do not need peace with creatures who cannot even leave their own world without help. You are dismissed. Go now." And Laura walked out of the great room. Behind them, the laughter followed them. They walked down long halls made of stone and crystal. Nobody spoke to them. Nobody helped them. They were not important enough for the Empire to care about. When they reached their small ship, Laura sat down hard in a chair. She put her face in her hands, stood by the window, and looked out at the space station. Millions of soldiers worked there. Thousands of weapons were hidden in the metal. The Empire had ruled for hundreds of years. No one had ever beaten them in war. But knew something the Regent did not know. 3 days before they came here, a message had gone out from Earth. It was coded so that no one could break it. The message was simple: begin operation. The plan had been made in secret by the military minds on Earth. It had taken years to build. It had taken months to prepare. And now there was no way to stop it. Looked at Laura. She was crying, but not from sadness. She was crying from anger. "They will know we were serious," said. "They will learn what happens when they laugh at humans." "Will it work?" Laura asked. "It will work," said. "It has to work. If it does not, Earth is finished. We will be slaves or we will be dead. There is no third choice." Laura nodded. She stood up and wiped her eyes. "Then we go home and we wait for the sky to burn." The trip back to Earth took many days. During those days, sat alone in his small room. He thought about the soldiers who would die in the attack. He thought about the weapons that would be used. He thought about what would happen after the station was destroyed. The Empire would be angry. They would want revenge. But first, they would have to admit that humans could beat them. That was the most important thing. As long as the Empire believed humans were weak, they would always treat them as slaves. Humans had tried asking for respect. Humans had tried showing what they could do, but the Empire had laughed. Sometimes, people only listened when they were afraid. When the ship reached Earth space, was called to military command. He walked into a building that was hidden underground. Nobody knew it was there except the people who worked there. Deep inside, Commander David Harper sat in front of many screens. Each screen showed something different. "Henderson," Harper said, "the Regent has not called for human blood yet. That is good. That means he is still thinking we are not a real threat." Nodded. "In 48 hours we attack," Harper said. 99 ships will move toward the station. We will not announce ourselves. We will not warn them. We will simply appear and we will strike. The station will not be able to defend itself because they will not believe the attack is real until it is too late." "What about the fleet?" asked. "The fleet is 3 hours away," Harper said. "We will have enough time. We will destroy the station and we will leave before they can stop us." Understood. It was a plan made by people who had studied the Empire for years. It was a plan that showed humans could think as well as aliens, could plan as well as aliens, could fight as well as aliens. "The Regent laughed at us," Harper said. "Now we will set his sky on fire. When he looks at the burning pieces of his greatest weapon falling from the sky, he will know that humans are not weak. He will know that humans are dangerous. Went home that night. He had one day before the operation began. He did not tell his family what would happen. He did not tell them that tomorrow might be the day everything changed. Instead, he sat with them and watched the sunset. He watched Earth's sun go down below the horizon. He thought about how small Earth was in the great galaxy, how small humans were compared to the Empire. But size did not matter if you were willing to risk everything. The next morning, put on his uniform. He checked his weapons. He made sure every part of his equipment was ready. The other soldiers did the same. They knew where they were going. They knew what they had to do. Some of them would not come back. But they did not hesitate. As walked to the ship, he passed a young soldier. The soldier looked scared. "Will we really win?" the young soldier asked. Looked at him. He thought about all the times humans had done things that seemed impossible. Humans had crossed oceans in small boats. Humans had flown into the sky when everyone said it was not possible. Humans had walked on their moon. Humans had built machines that could think. And now humans would burn the sky above a world. "Yes," said, "we will win, because humans do not know how to fail when we fight for our lives." The ship launched at dawn. 98 other ships launched at the same time. Nobody on Earth knew about it except the military. The public was told the ships were going on a research mission. Nobody knew they were flying toward the greatest military station in the galaxy. Nobody knew that humans were about to change the history of the entire universe. As the ships moved through space, sat in the command area and watched the stars pass by. The station grew larger on the screen. In a few hours, it would be destroyed. In a few hours, the Empire would learn that they had made a terrible mistake when they laughed at humans. The 99 ships hung in space like ghosts. No one could see them. The cloaking technology that humans had built worked perfectly. It was not as good as the Empire's best technology, but it was good enough. It was good enough to hide 99 ships carrying 3,000 soldiers, engineers, pilots, and support people. Commander David Harper sat in his chair and watched the screens. On each screen, he could see the station. It was huge. It was made of metal that reflected light like a mirror. Weapons hung from its sides. Defense shields covered it like invisible armor. Inside the station were 50,000 soldiers. Inside were the best weapons the Empire had created. But the Empire had made a mistake. Years ago, human scientists had found something in the ruins of an old alien civilization. They found plans. The plans showed how the station had been built. They showed where the weak places were, the places where the builders had cut corners because they thought the station would never be attacked, the places where power lines ran close together, the places where fuel flowed through the same corridors. The Empire had believed their own stories. They had believed that no one could ever hurt them, so they had not fixed the problems in their design. Dr. Alexis Foster stood in the weapons section. She was very smart. She had spent the last 3 years building the plan to destroy the station. Now she stood in front of machines that would fire weapons that had never been fired before. Each weapon was made by human hands. Each weapon had been tested 100 times. Each weapon was designed to do one thing: destroy a shield generator. "Start the countdown," Foster said. Numbers appeared on the screens: 60 seconds, 50 seconds, 40 seconds. Chief Engineer sat in another room. She was watching the power levels on each ship. The cloaking technology needed energy. The weapons needed energy. The shields on the ships needed energy. She had to balance everything perfectly or the ships would be seen. "All systems ready," she said into her radio. 30 seconds, 20 seconds, 10 seconds. "Fire," Harper said. The weapons launched. From 99 ships, 99 missiles shot toward the station. They moved so fast that they left trails of fire behind them. They were aimed at the biggest reactor on the station, the reactor that powered all the shields. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Then the first explosion came. The blast was so big that it lit up the entire region of space. The reactor was hit directly. It exploded into pieces. The shield generators went dark. "Second wave," Harper shouted. More missiles launched. These missiles were aimed at different targets. They hit the weapon systems, they hit the defense towers, they hit the communications center. The station was a thing of great power, but it was not ready for an attack. The robots that were supposed to shoot down incoming weapons were destroyed. The shields that were supposed to protect everything had gone dark. The soldiers inside the station were running to their stations, but they did not even know where the attack was coming from. Captain Henderson was already moving. His team of soldiers sat in a landing shuttle. They wore combat armor that human engineers had built. They carried weapons that could kill. They were ready to fight. "Launch the assault teams," Harper said. 50 shuttles broke through the cloaking shields and flew toward the station. They moved fast. They had maybe 5 minutes before the fleet could reach the station. 5 minutes before hundreds of ships filled with soldiers would arrive. The shuttles hit the station like spears hitting a shield. They broke through the weakened hull. They cut through the metal. They opened holes where humans could enter. And his team jumped out and ran into the station. Behind them, the station was shaking. The explosions were getting bigger. More of the internal systems were being hit. The power was going down throughout the entire structure. "Security team on the left side," a soldier said, 100 meters away. Raised his hand. Half his team moved to block the corridor. The other half moved forward. They had a map of the station that had been made from the old alien plans. They knew exactly where to go. The soldiers appeared around a corner. They wore armor that glowed with blue light. They carried weapons that could burn through metal. They looked like monsters from old human stories about death and war. But they were afraid. They did not understand what was happening. Their communications were down. Their weapons systems were not responding. Their shields were dark. They were fighting an enemy they could not see, and they were losing. Soldiers opened fire. The human weapons were not as powerful as weapons, but they were more accurate. They were held by soldiers who had trained for 2 years for this moment. Every shot was aimed. Every bullet was meant to kill. 3 soldiers fell. The others tried to retreat, but team was faster. They pushed forward deeper into the station. Around them, other human teams were doing the same thing. They were moving through the station like water moving through a broken dam. They were fighting, and they were winning. But the cost was high. Young Private Gregory took an energy blast that burned through his suit. He fell down, and his body would never move again. Sergeant Helen Cross was hit 3 times, and she kept fighting anyway. She did not stop until she had killed the soldier who shot her. Humans could feel pain. Humans could be hurt. But humans could also choose to keep fighting even when everything hurt. That was something the Empire did not understand. Captain was leading the team that had to reach the fusion core. The core was the heart of the station. It was where the power came from. If they could reach it and destroy it, the entire station would die. The corridors grew hotter as they moved deeper. The core was somewhere below them. The maps showed 3 more levels to go. They had maybe 3 minutes left before the fleet arrived. "Move faster," said. His team ran through corridors that were shaking. Behind them, explosions kept happening. The station was destroying itself. The humans had started a process that could not be stopped. The fusion core was overheating. The backup systems were offline. The damage was too great. All around the station, human soldiers were fighting and dying. They were destroying weapons. They were killing guards. They were moving toward their objective. They knew they might not leave the station alive. But they also knew that if they succeeded, Earth would never have to bow to the Empire again. In space, more ships appeared. They had received the distress call. W. Henderson moved through the corridor with his weapon ready. The air was hot. The lights were broken. The station was falling apart around him, but he could not stop. He had to keep moving. Behind him, 12 soldiers followed. They had started with 15. 2 were dead. 1 was too hurt to continue. The 3 who were left had injuries, but they could still fight. The map showed 2 more corridors, then they would reach the core, but the map was made from old plans. The plans did not show what the station looked like now. The explosions had changed everything. Walls were broken. Corridors did not connect the way they should. Dead soldiers lay on the floor. Human soldiers lay there too. "We need to move up 1 level," said. He pointed at a hole in the ceiling. His soldiers helped each other through the hole. They climbed through broken metal and twisted cables. The heat was getting worse. Below them, the core was burning. The humans had damaged it badly. It was like a heart that was beating wrong. Instead of keeping the station alive, it was killing the station. They reached a big corridor. Long windows showed the space outside. The station looked strange now. Part of it was dark. Part of it was glowing orange from fires. The shields were gone. Without shields, the station looked weak. It looked breakable. "Guard station," one of the soldiers shouted. Soldiers were ahead. They had barricaded themselves in. They had weapons pointing at the corridor. They had decided to fight to the death here. knew he did not have time to fight a long battle. He had maybe 90 seconds before he needed to be at the core control room. If he was still in the corridor in 90 seconds, he would die when the core exploded. He made a choice. "Throw the charges," he said. His soldiers took devices from their bags. They were not explosives, they were worse. They were acid. They were designed to eat through armor. The soldiers threw them. The charges hit the barricade. For a second, nothing happened. Then the acid started to burn. It burned through the barricade. It burned through the armor of the soldiers who were behind the barricade. The soldiers screamed. It was a sound that would never forget. It was a sound of pain and surprise and fear. Humans had created a weapon that hurt. Humans had created a weapon that killed. Humans were not as nice as the other species in the galaxy believed. His team ran through the burning barricade. The soldiers behind it were dying. They did not try to stop the humans anymore. 50 seconds left. The corridor turned. Ahead was a door made of thick metal. It was the door to the core control room. The door was locked. No one had the code. Engineer Pierce came forward. She had a device in her hands. It was a computer that could break codes. She had created it herself. She put it against the lock. The device beeped. 40 seconds left. "Come on," said, "come on." Engineer David stood beside him. David had his own device. David's device was designed to shut down power to the locks. Together, they could open the door. The lock beeped again. 30 seconds left. The door opened. Inside the control room were scientists. They were trying to fix the core. They saw the humans and they stopped moving. They understood what was about to happen. "Now," said. And David moved to the control panels. They took out their devices. The devices were small computers made by human engineers. They had spent months studying old technology. They had learned how to speak to machines using human language. David's fingers flew across the controls. He was typing commands. The commands went into the machines. The machines tried to understand them. Opened a panel and connected her device directly to the power system. The panel sparked. Electricity moved through the device. 20 seconds left. "I have it," said. "The cascade sequence. The core will overload in 30 seconds. The scientists started to run. They knew they were going to die. They tried to escape. "Lock the doors," David said. The doors locked. The scientists ran at the humans. They were scientists, not soldiers, but they were strong. They were desperate. They did not want to die. Shot one, Sergeant Helen Cross shot another. The third scientist grabbed Private Michael Torres. They fell to the ground. Torres was being crushed. His face was turning red. Ran to him. He hit the scientist with his weapon. The scientist fell. Torres rolled away, gasping for air. 10 seconds left. "We have to go," said. "The core is going to explode." The humans ran for the door. Behind them, the scientists were dying. The core was overheating. The temperature in the control room was rising. They could feel heat on their skin. They ran through the corridor. Behind them, the ground was shaking. 5 seconds. They reached a window. Outside, the space showed the distance to the escape shuttles. The shuttles were far away. Threw a device out the window. It was a grappling hook connected to a wire. It shot out into space. It hit the nearest shuttle. The wire went tight. The core exploded. The explosion happened below them. It was like a sun being born inside the station. Light filled the entire structure. Fire moved up the corridors. The metal became soft. The air became burning. But the humans were already gone. They slid down the wire toward the shuttle. The heat was behind them. The fire was chasing them. They could feel it burning their backs. One by one, they reached the shuttle. The pilot was already starting the engines. The soldiers jumped inside. Was last, he was moving slow because the wire was burning his hands. The fire was very close. He could smell his own skin burning. He jumped. He fell toward the shuttle. Someone grabbed his arm. He was pulled inside. The door slammed shut. The shuttle moved away from the station. They watched as the explosion got bigger. The core had failed completely. The reactor was destroying itself. The explosion spread through the station like a wave. It hit weapons systems. It hit fuel storage. Each explosion made the next explosion bigger. The station was dying. In the control room of the human fleet, Commander Harper watched the display. The station was broken. The energy was gone. The shields were gone. The weapons were offline. It was a dead thing floating in space. In 80 seconds, the whole station would be destroyed. The other human assault teams were escaping. Some teams had lost soldiers. Some teams had succeeded completely. One team was still fighting in the lower section, but the shuttles could not wait. The fleet would be here in minutes. All around the station, pieces of metal started to move. The explosions were tearing the structure apart. Debris was flying in every direction. On the human ships, alarms started to sound. The debris was coming toward them. The pilots had to move fast to avoid being hit. One human ship was hit. It was damaged but not destroyed. The pilot pushed the engines to the maximum. The ship was faster than ships. It could escape. The other human ships were already moving away. The cloaking shields were being turned back on. The ships became invisible again. One by one, the human ships disappeared from the sensors. Ships were appearing in space. They came from the direction of the main fleet. They had come too late. They arrived in time to watch their greatest station fall apart. They arrived in time to see the debris falling from the sky. The station, the symbol of the Empire's power, was becoming a cloud of dust. Sat in the shuttle and watched. His hands were burned, his face was burned, he was in pain, but he was alive. Around him, his soldiers were also alive. Some of them were hurt bad, but they had done their job. They, the regent, stood in his palace and watched the message. The message showed the station in pieces. Millions of tons of metal and equipment that had been built over 200 years were now falling from the sky like rain. The station was gone. The regent's form shook. Metal rippled across his body like water. His anger was so great that machines near him started to break. Technology that worked perfectly began to fail. His rage was burning through everything. Who did this? He demanded. Who would dare attack the Empire? His scientists told him the truth. Humans did this. The same species he had laughed at just days before. The same species who had asked for respect and been rejected. The same species who he had believed were weak and powerless. The humans had destroyed his greatest station. The regent wanted to attack Earth immediately. He wanted to send a fleet that would burn the human world. He wanted to make sure that humans could never do anything like this again. But his military leaders told him to wait. They told him to think. They told him that something strange had happened. The humans had appeared from nothing. They had destroyed the station. They had disappeared back into nothing. The sensors had not seen them arrive or leave. The humans had a technology that the Empire did not understand. In the palace, a meeting was called. All the leaders of the Empire came together. They were shocked. They were angry, but they were also scared. If humans could do this, what else could they do? The military leader, unnamed, spoke first. We must attack the human world immediately. We must destroy them before they can attack us again. But another voice spoke against him. It was the leader of the scientists, Zephyr. If we attack and fail, the humans will attack us again. They have shown us that they can hurt us. If we go to war, we must be prepared. We must understand what we are fighting. The regent listened. He did not like to hear about his station being destroyed, but he understood that they needed to be careful. If the Empire attacked and lost, it would be the end of everything. Other species would see that the Empire was weak. They would stop obeying. They would stop paying taxes. The whole system would fall apart. Send a message to the humans, the regent said. Tell them that the Unified Council wants them to come back. Tell them we are ready to talk. Zephyr looked surprised. You will talk to them after they destroyed our greatest station. I will talk to them, the regent said, because I want to know how they did this. I want to know what they can do, and I want to know if they will attack us again. The message was sent across the galaxy. It reached Earth in hours. It said that the Unified Council wanted humans to come back. It said that humans had finally earned the right to be heard. But it did not say that the regent was afraid. Ambassador Laura Mitchell received the message. She read it carefully. She understood what the regent really meant. The regent meant that humans had hurt the Empire badly. The regent meant that humans were dangerous now. Laura stood up and walked to her window. She looked out at Earth. The blue planet turned slowly in space. It was beautiful and small and home. She had lost friends to this war. She had lost soldiers who had died on the station. But she had also won something. She had won the right for humans to be treated as equals. She called Captain Henderson. Are you ready? She asked. Yes, said. His hands were bandaged. His face had burn marks, but his eyes were strong. Then we go back to the council, Laura said, and this time they will listen. And Laura traveled back to the Unified Council with a small group of guards. The journey took many days. On the way, received reports of how many soldiers had died on the station. The number was high. 347 humans had died. Each one had died so that Earth would be free. When the human delegation arrived at the council, the meeting room was different. The aliens who had laughed before now sat very still. They did not laugh. They did not make noise. They watched as Laura walked to the center of the room. The regent did not smile this time. His voice was careful. "You destroyed our station," he said. Laura did not look away. "You laughed at us. You told us to go home. You told us we were not important. We showed you that we are important. We showed you that humans are not weak." "Humans are warriors," the regent said. His voice was cold. "That is clear." "Humans are survivors," Laura said. "We come from a world that wants to kill us every day. We survive because we are smart. We survive because we are brave. We survive because we will do whatever we must to stay alive." Stepped forward. "We did not come here to ask for respect anymore. We came here to tell you that we have earned it. Every soldier who died on that station paid the price in blood. They paid so that humans could stand in this room as equals." The Quinn representative spoke. "What do you want from the council?" Laura answered, "We want a seat at the table. We want to be part of the decisions that affect the galaxy. We want trade with all species. We want to be able to protect our colonies without asking permission. And we want the Empire to know that if they attack us, we will attack them back." The regent listened. He thought about the station falling from the sky. He thought about how the Empire had believed it was invincible. He thought about how humans had shown the Empire that it was wrong. "The Unified Council will vote," the regent said. "We will decide if humans deserve a seat." The vote took hours. Species spoke against humans. Species spoke in favor of humans. The traders said that humans were dangerous. The Vex said that humans might be useful. The Quinn said nothing, but they voted yes. In the end, the vote was clear. 17 species voted yes. Only the Empire abstained. To abstain meant that the regent believed humans deserved something, but he did not want to admit it out loud. It was enough. Laura Mitchell stood before the council and smiled. "Earth is now a member of the Unified Council. We will send ambassadors. We will join the trade networks. We will build relationships with all species." She paused. "And we will never bow down again." As the meeting ended, the regent approached Laura privately. He was alone. His guards waited outside. "Why did you not kill more of my soldiers?" he asked. "Why did you not take the entire station?" Laura looked at him. She saw that he was asking a real question. He wanted to understand. "Because we came to win a war, not start 1,000 wars," Laura said. "We came to show you that we are powerful. We did not come to destroy the Empire. We came to make you respect us." The regent's form rippled. "You did that. You made us respect you. You also made us afraid. I am not sure which is worse." "Fear is temporary," Laura said, "but respect lasts forever." The regent turned and walked away. Watched as Laura came back. Her eyes were bright. Her face was strong. "It is done," Laura said. "Earth is free." The human ships traveled back to Earth. Inside the main ship, Henderson sat with Laura Mitchell. They both looked tired. They both knew that what they had done would change everything. "What happens now?" asked. Laura looked out at the stars. "Now we build faster ships. We build better weapons. We build alliances with other species who are tired of the Empire. We make sure that no one ever laughs at humans again." Nodded, he knew she was right. The attack on the station had been just the beginning. The real work was only starting now. When the ships reached Earth, the whole planet was waiting. Every news station was showing the images. The station falling from the sky, the humans who had done it, the Unified Council voting to accept Earth as a member. People celebrated in the streets. They had won. Humanity had won against the greatest power in the galaxy. But not everyone was happy. Commander David Harper called a meeting with the top military leaders. They sat in a secret room deep underground. They looked at maps and charts and plans. "The Empire will not forgive us," Harper said. "They will not forget what we did. We have made an enemy today." "What do we do?" asked Captain. "We prepare for war," Harper said. "We build a military that can stand against them. We make alliances with other species. We make sure that if the Empire attacks, we can fight back and win." The military leaders nodded. They understood. They had not destroyed the station just to be wiped out later. They had destroyed it to show strength. Now they had to keep that strength. In the schools, children learned about the attack. They learned about humans who had sacrificed everything so that Earth could be free. They learned about Private Gregory who had died before the victory came. They learned about the soldiers who had burned their hands and walked away from the fire anyway. They learned that humans could be brave. Dr. Alexis Foster stood in her laboratory and looked at her next project. She was building a ship. Not just any ship, but a ship that could move faster than anything the Empire had. She wanted to build weapons that could hurt them more. She wanted to make sure that humans had the best technology in the galaxy. She knew it would take years, but she had time. The regent sat in his palace and looked at the debris of the station. Machines were trying to collect the pieces. They would rebuild the station. But it would take a long time. It would take resources that could have been used for other things. The regent had learned something important. He had learned that power was not just about having the biggest weapons. Power was also about being willing to use them. Power was about being willing to sacrifice. Power was about understanding that some enemies could not be beaten with technology alone. Humans had taught him that lesson. 10 years passed. Earth had become a major power in the galaxy. Human ships were fast and strong. Human weapons were deadly and smart. Human soldiers were feared across the known space. The Unified Council now listened when humans spoke. But humans did not become the Empire. They did not laugh at other species. They did not think they were better than everyone else. Instead, humans made friends. The Quinn species became their biggest trading partner. The traders sold human technology across the galaxy. Even some Vex scientists came to study at Earth universities. The Empire still did not like humans, but they also did not attack them. They knew that if they attacked, humans would fight back, and humans would win. Henderson became a general. He trained other soldiers. He taught them what he had learned in the station. He taught them that courage and intelligence could beat technology. He taught them that humans could do impossible things if they refused to give up. Laura Mitchell became the first human speaker to the Unified Council. She spoke for Earth. She spoke for the colonies. She spoke for humans everywhere. One day, she gave a speech to the Council. She talked about the old days when humans had asked for respect and been refused. She talked about the soldiers who had died. She talked about the station falling from the sky. "We did not want to destroy that station," Laura said. "We wanted respect, but the Empire did not understand how to give respect. So we had to show them that humans are not weak. We had to show them that humans are not afraid." She paused. "Today, the galaxy knows the truth. Humans are builders, humans are traders, humans are scientists. But when we have to be, humans are also warriors. We are warriors who will do anything to protect our world. We are warriors who will do anything to protect our people. And we are warriors who will never bow down again." The other species listened. Some of them were afraid, some of them were impressed. All of them understood that the galaxy had changed. A young human student asked a question one day. The student wanted to be a soldier. The student wanted to be like. "Why did you do it?" the student asked. "Why did you attack the station?" Looked at the student. He thought about Gregory. He thought about the soldiers who had burned their hands. He thought about the price that had been paid. "Because sometimes," said, "you have to show people what you are capable of. Sometimes you have to be willing to sacrifice everything. And sometimes the only way to get respect is to stand up and fight for it." The student nodded. On Earth, cities grew. New weapons were built. New ships were launched. Humans explored space like they had explored oceans and continents long ago. They settled new worlds. They built new civilizations. But they never forgot where they came from. They never forgot the station. They never forgot the price that had been paid for freedom. A monument was built on Earth. The names of every soldier who had died on the station were written on it. 347 names. 347 humans who had given their lives. Every year, humans came to the monument and remembered. And every year, fewer people laughed at humans. The regent died 15 years after the attack. Before he died, he looked at his view of space one last time. He thought about the station that was no longer there. He thought about the humans who had destroyed it. He had been wrong about humans. He had been wrong to laugh at them. He had been wrong to believe that they were weak. But he was not the only one who had been wrong. The entire galaxy had been wrong about humans. The galaxy had believed that humans were just another species. The galaxy had believed that humans would never matter. The galaxy had believed that the big powers would always control everything. But humans had changed the galaxy. Not by being the biggest, not by being the richest, not by being the oldest or the most advanced. Humans had changed the galaxy by being willing to do what others would not do, by being willing to take risks that others would not take, by being willing to sacrifice everything for their freedom. The station had burned in the sky, the flames had lit up the darkness, and in that light the galaxy had seen the truth. Humans were not weak. Humans were free, and humans would never again be laughed at. Years turned into decades. The young student who wanted to be like became a general himself. He trained new soldiers. He told them about Henderson. He told them about Operation. He told them about the day humans set the sky ablaze. And every time he told the story, the same message was clear. Never underestimate humans. Never think we are weak. Never believe that we will not fight for what we believe in. Because when humans decide to fight, the whole galaxy burns. And nothing will ever be the same again. Nodded, he thought about the soldiers who had died. He thought about the cost of freedom. But he also thought about what it meant. No human would ever have to bow to an alien again. No human colony would have to ask permission to defend itself. Humans had earned the right to choose their own future. The price had been high, but it was worth it. Had destroyed the core, they had killed the station. And they had shown the Empire something it had never believed before. Humans could win. Air coming to fight, but they were still 20 minutes away. The human ships had already started moving back to their jump point. The attack had taken exactly 8 minutes from start to finish. 8 minutes to change everything. Dr. Foster watched as the weapons displays went dark one by one. The missiles were being fired. The defense systems were being hit. The station was dying. She thought about the soldiers inside. She thought about the fact that some of them might not come back. But she also thought about Earth. She thought about all the people on Earth who would finally be safe. Sometimes humans had to do hard things. Sometimes humans had to hurt people to protect other people. That was the way the galaxy worked. The strong took what they wanted. The weak suffered. But not anymore. Not if humans had anything to say about it. The fleet was coming, but the human ships were already moving away. They had done their job. They had showed the Empire that humans were not weak. They had showed the Empire that humans could fight. Now the real war would begin. Closed his eyes and thought about the soldiers who would die. He said a silent prayer for them. They would die so that humans could be free. They would die so that Earth would never have to bow to the Empire again. It was a price that had to be paid. The attack would begin in 1 hour.